breakfast momentarily, just get everybody a quick welcome and thank you for all showing up. It's a great crowd today. As you can see, we're almost full pack here. I'm going to have our chaplain start with a benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty God, giver of all victories, we thank thee for the opportunities which abide in our land, for thy guidance in the hour of peril, and thy tender love in minds of need. Help us to remember the reverence, the valor, and devotion of departed comrades, not only those whose bodies consecrate our country's soil, but also those who sleep beyond the seas, and those others whose resting place will not be known until the last day, when the deep will have to give up its dead. O God, teach us to honor them by ever cherishing the ideals for which they fought. Keep us steadfast in the cause of human rights and liberties, of law and order, and true Americanism. Give the power to see and the will to do the right. Grant that the American Legion may preserve the high ideal for which our comrades died. May their merciful blessing rest upon those they left behind. Keep us forever firm in righteousness, humble of heart, and unselfish in purpose. Amen.
If you can stay standing, please. And join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can take seats. So we're going to serve breakfast here and then start our program after breakfast. I just want to welcome everybody to the Memorial Day service here at Post 194. This is why we're all here today, to recognize those that have lost their lives throughout the country in defense of our nation, state, and community. So please enjoy your breakfast, and then we'll start the program afterwards.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. O Saint, us that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Interesting story. So please feel free to talk to them and embarrass them and drag them out and make them talk. Enjoy your breakfast. Reverse engineer, pull the flag order here for Brad and Senator Tarr are departing to the next event. So I want to lead in. I was going to speak about this a little later, but I want to lean into this now because I've got Brad and Senator Tarr and Mrs. Martin's on the committee now. What I'm hoping to do in Hamilton, there's a couple things. The memorials in town go up to 1975, so we need to move forward from 75 to infinity, basically, the way the world order is. And also, in Essex County, we do not have a War on Terror memorial. So I want to propose that Hamilton has the War on Terror memorial for our county. And I've got Representative Hills fully behind it, And Senator Carr, I don't know if he's still here. Is he here? He's hiding on me. There he is over there. He's behind it. And so moving forward, this is going to be something I'm going to take on and look for the community's help and selectmen, because we'll have to go through the selectmen and approval processes. So with that, I will have Representative Hill say a few words, and if Senator Tar would like to say a few words.
Well, first of all, you do have our support. As you probably remember in the past, when the town has come to us for money for monuments, we've been able to secure those funds through the budget. And once we find out how much this would cost and the applications that are going to be needed in order for it to happen, we then will look to the budget or to the DAV to try and get some funding to help with that. So you absolutely have us as your advocates on at the state level to get you some funding for that. But instead of me giving a big speech, because I think we're going to have a couple of speech folks today, I just want to say thank you to the Legion, and specifically I want to thank the commander for all the work that he has done over the last 5 or 6 years leading the Legion and all the things that you have done. I know I'm looking around and I see a few young people. If you go to our cemeteries and you see that all the graves are decorated, it's something to be seen. It's awesome. And it's because of the leadership of the Legion and volunteers that got that done. You go down Route 1A, it's pretty impressive. We have to say thank you, Commander, for all that you've done. We all love you here, and we all respect all the work that you have done, and the partnership that you and I have had now over the last few years is something very special to Senator Tar and I, and all the things that we've been able to accomplish. But it takes a great leader for that to happen, and we have one right here in your community. So thank you for all of you. And as I normally do, and I'm not going to read it, but we always, yes. I say yay too. We do have a proclamation that we give out every year to the commander of the Legion declaring May 27, 2019 to be Memorial Day. It's signed by our Governor Charles Baker, our Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, signed by our Secretary of State William Galvin. And at the bottom it says, "God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts," and I think I can say with the utmost sincerity, God bless America and God bless this Legion.
And as every good leader knows, nothing's done alone. So there's a team here that carries the post. I'm only here part-time. There's a lot of people that work here full-time that carry on all our mission.
Well, thank you very much, Commander. Good morning. And I'm always happy to be here with Representative Hill. I was particularly glad to welcome him through the door this morning when he arrived. That was a wonderful thing. I know that most of you won't remember that the next time we see each other, but I hope you will. But it's always a great thing to be able to join with you as we convene on Memorial Day weekend and think about how important it is that we have so many people throughout the history of our country that have consistently risen to the call of duty. And it's wonderful to be here, Commander, with you. You certainly have done an outstanding job. And in fact, it's wonderful to see so many people here this morning. I was saying a little while ago that I actually had to park in Essex and walk over because the parking lot was so full. And that is a testament to the spirit of this post, and to the spirit not only of the Legion, but certainly the Sons of the American Legion, who we owe a great debt of gratitude for putting together so much of this morning as well. And so I merely wanted to say thank you, and to say that we will be enthusiastically joining you, Commander, in the effort to be able to create a War on Terror memorial for Essex County, so that we can remember all of those folks that have carried on the tradition of military service that has made our country great, not because we love war, but because we always fight so there'll be peace. And it's been an amazing thing to see new generations serving multiple tours of duty, families making incredible amounts of sacrifice as their loved ones have served those tours of duty, and they deserve the same recognition as so many others that have come before them in other wars and conflicts. And won't it be a great exclamation mark on behalf of our county to build a memorial that says thank you in the strongest possible terms. We know that will be an incredibly challenging effort. It's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take the right design, it's going to take a team to get it funded. Obviously, Brad and I will do our part through the various ways that we have to try to bring state resources to bear as well. But the most important thing is that this will be something created by the community to rise up together once again and say in the strongest possible terms, thank you, we appreciate what you have done, we recognize the sacrifice that has been made through your service, and we are proud of you. And there couldn't be a better place for all of that to happen than right here in Essex County. So again, thank you to the Legion for having us today. Thank you to the Sons and everyone who contributed to making this wonderful breakfast. And most of all, for everyone who today and this weekend who has served, who supports those who have served, or who will rise up in a collective expression of thank you. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
All right, so I want to lead out by just walking around the room here and recognizing the audience. And I want to start with the youngest individual in here. I'm not going to make them stand up. But Henry is 98 and has been a faithful servant to the Legion for way more than I've been around. So we appreciate you every year coming. And then the other young guy over there who won the Legion of Honor a couple of years ago, if you remember. And he wore it for me today because I told him that I didn't even get a picture of him when he got awarded it a couple of years ago. Would you like to say that into the microphone? He's 94 years young. My friend over here, the Colonel, he was telling me this morning he walks a mile every day to work out. 94. And he'll be 94 years old. We are better because of those people among us, and they've led the way for us. And are all the World War II generation. Is there any other World War II generation people here that I didn't identify? So our numbers have dwindled. When I started in command 6 years ago now, I think we had 25. And I think we're looking at about 8 now that are members here at the post. So, you know, the community left, went to war, and they all came back and created the Legion in World War I and then carried on in World War II. And I think there were 300 that were members here. And Jack will probably correct me on my math because he's the historian that is aware of all this. But I mean, we had about 300 people here that were World War II veterans. So the numbers are falling.
You're going to be the last one standing, unfortunately.
I hope so. Can I have the Korean Warrior people stand up, please? Or just wave your hand. Rick's trying to pull a sick call. He's got a cane. He didn't want to get up. And if I could have the Vietnam era people stand up, please. And those numbers are dwindling as well. I mean, I forget that they're 20 years ahead of me. So these people have, you know, started to dissipate as well. So it's good that we recognize them. And sadly, as we have seen in the news, in Massachusetts couple of memorials have been denigrated, for whatever reason, mental health or otherwise. So it's sad that even it would be done, especially this time of year. If I could have post-Vietnam, any Cold War, Panama, Grenada, Afghanistan. Somalia. There was one Somalia here, but he's departed with his child. All right, so I wanted to read something, the excerpt out of a book I had. But I just want to also continue with recognition, my favorite supporter of all, Mrs. Patton. With selflessness, a wonderful person. And there was a fire chief here. I saw the truck tear out, so he had to leave. And our new fire chief, Ray Burnett, he's told me that we're going to have a flag over the parade down the park this year. So that'll be a nice addition to our annual parade tomorrow. In our police department, last weekend we were honored to go to the cemetery to participate in the President Trump had designated last week a police memorial on Wednesday, I believe, right? And Sergeant Trepanier put together a great program down the cemetery, invited the Legion along, and we were honored to be there. Our rifle squad participated. They honored 3 lost police officers, Officer Nyland, Officer Smith, and Officer Hopping, that passed away this past year. And we all have our stories about each one of them and what we cherished about each one of them. And I spoke a couple of years ago, I shared a story about Smitty chasing me through the woods with fireworks as a kid. Smitty was also a Marine and one of us, and he cherished the parade every year and leading the police officers in the parade. And the chief spoke and did a fantastic job. He tied in General Patton, and he also tied in a message about it's not how they die, it's how they live. And it ties us together, military and police. We're very similar in what we do and have the same purposes. And it was a fantastic job, and it made me think about the battles we have, they're having over here now, sadly. Every day you hear about another police officer that is being somehow injured or sadly dies, and there's this permissive idea in the United States that it's okay to push back against police officers, and it's inappropriate. It's not the right politics. And if we've got our VSOs, Kathy and Karen, up here at the front desk. And if you don't know what the VSO is, the Veteran Service Officer, she covers how many counties? 10? 8. Covers 8 counties, and is our representative for our needs. And if you haven't met her, please come up and meet her. And if you have needs at 98, you don't have any needs, you're good to go. Please seek them out. They're over in Ipswich, their office at the town hall, so please seek them out. And then we got our Wenham Selectmen. We thank you for coming every year. And our Hamilton Selectmen and our new chair, Mr. Hubbard. Congratulations. And then in the corner over there is our Wenham Veterans Organization. Wenham has had a hit in the last few years. The Legion had closed. All the Legions are struggling, and since I've been commander, I know of at least 4 or 5 that have closed. There's a minimum number. You have to have either 13 or 15 to maintain a charter. So if you go below that, you can no longer keep your Legion charter, and unfortunately in Wenham that had transpired. So thankfully a lot of them have come over and joined up with us here in Hamilton, and we appreciate that. And who else hasn't been recognized? Anybody I've missed out here? my brother, come down to support me. All right, I want to just read an excerpt. The book was called Day of Battle. It's a reference to World War II, but you can plug in any battle, any country into the read here, and it would pretty much suffice for any combat. We learned the saddest lesson, for war was not just a military campaign, but a parable. There were lessons of camaraderie and duty, inscrutable faith. There were lessons of honor and courage, of compassion and sacrifice. And then there was the saddest lesson that we learned again and again, coming home in the coming weeks as we fought across Sicily, and in the coming months as we fought their way back toward a world at peace. That war is corrupting, that it corrodes the soul, tarnishes the spirit, and even the excellent and superior can be defiled, and no heart will remain unstained. It sums it up. No matter how well you are when you walk away, you always get that eternal baggage. And today, the kids are coming home, or the service members are coming home, and a lot of them, I served 30 years, so I find that it's different. I transition a lot of issues over time, but a lot of these kids come home in 4 years, they get out, they don't have the tools to walk back into a free society and do what they gotta do, and statistics are showing that 20 a day are still killing themselves, which is incredible. And you lose all that, as the major will tell you, you lose all that team spirit and that ability to brace each other up, and that's what we do in the service. So when you come back, you're kind of just a lost soul. And I was talking to Rich Barbado, who works nationally for the VA, and he is a rock star, and he's evolved over time. He had, in our discussion, it said what is happening is these kids are coming back, and they're leaning back, they're looking for someone to come to them and to assist them, but that's not what this system's all about. That's not what America's all about. So these kids need to step in. There's all kinds of things available, but they need to take the chance and step in and do what they need to do to get themselves moving on the right foot. No different than any other service or war. It's just that they're, for whatever reason, having a hard time making that step forward and engaging and taking all the opportunities to benefit themselves. And another thing I wanted to mention was Washington, or the USA Today had picked up a story that the Pentagon had put out, a study in 2017, and they published it last week or the week before, that only 29% of the 17 to 24-year-olds in this country are eligible for the military, which sounds horrifying to me. And it's because of drugs, criminal records, and obesity. And they're calling it a national crisis. The Pentagon report was a looming national security crisis, young Americans unable to serve in the military. And they go on to say police, fire, any kind of professional requirements, because these kids are just in a different place today. In that same age group, and with all adults, they go on to say that, I think it's, I would try to be accurate here, 57% believe that our next step should be socialism. So we're shifting our culture in the country, and it's not to say that anything's lost, but it's these type things that focus us and bring us back to where we need to be. So this year, I want to put a plug out for the Patton Homestead. They're doing a 75th anniversary program at the Patton Homestead for D-Day, and it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 3rd, 4th, 6th. It's advertised. And Peter, you probably know, what's the exact dates? I mean, Bill, excuse me.
Saturday, June 1st through Thursday, the Commemoration Day, June 6th.
Yeah, so the 1st to the 6th, they got a week-long program, so please attend and be part of it. They've honored the Legion. The Legion's going to be there on the 6th and participate with the rifle squad. So it's a good program. We got great things in this town. We got our cherished family that we revolve around, and we have our park that every day we get to go by and see that wonderful big piece of steel out there. We got a very veteran, strong community, and it's great to see these programs continuing. And I want to put another plug out for Peter Glenn and Ernie Stone. They've led the way for the last several years on the Homestead Military History Day, and this year we're doing a Military Service Day, and we are co-sponsoring under their great leadership this event, and that's on July 13th. It's a fantastic day. They work tirelessly all year to put it together, and it's great for families, veterans, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity there for everybody to get involved. So please participate and come on down, and it's a free event. So bring your family, bring your relatives, put the word out and advertise. This is also about the 69th year and 52nd year since Vietnam. So time does go by. And if you think about it, the war on terror is about 18 years now. They call it different names, they changed the leadership, but we're going in about 18 years, and they're deploying people to Iran now. So there's probably not an end in sight. So I'm going to move forward and introduce the speaker of the day. I'll lead into this a little bit. We do the school walk on Friday every year before the Memorial Day weekend. And we start at Bucher, go to Cutler, go to Winthrop, and end at the middle and high school. And as they spoke about me today and my leadership, I've dragged in our guest speaker to be my voice down at the school system and each year at the cemetery, and he's done a phenomenal job. And his son this year, who just graduated from his pilot's program, he's now a pilot in the Coast Guard, was with us this year, and it was very special. The good-looking Martin and the older Martin is the way it went all day. He was able to engage the children a little differently than us old scary people. And we had at Bucher, Cutler, and Winthrop, we had an engagement with the audience program. And the kids started slow, and by the time we got to Cutler, boy, they were throwing out some tough questions. And questions that you may not think they would throw out, questions about life, questions about death, questions about the enemy. You know, we didn't get fixed bayonets, but we had almost everything around that. And his son did a phenomenal job. And it's one of the best things we do every year is to engage the school system. And again, it's a wonderful program, and it's great for the kids. By the time they get to the high school, some of them are heard it about 15 times, but they're a good lot. They give us honor by being there. So this person graduated from Stonehill College, went to Western New England University, was a U.S. Navy judge advocate. He was a prosecutor and a defense counsel. He was a staff judge advocate. He was a legal assistance attorney. He was a trial judge for the general and special courts, marshal. He was an executive officer of the Naval Reserve and Marine Corps Trial Judiciary. He's a retired commander of the United States Navy after 25 years. He's been a member here at the Legion Post since 1997. And this past year, he was made a judge by Governor Baker. So I will welcome Mr. William Martin.
Thank you, and good morning. I have to say I'm a little nervous standing up here in front of all of you, very distinguished guests, and this is my first time speaking here at the Legion. Bear with me, please. My name is Bill Martin, and I served in the United States Navy Judge Advocate General's Corps for nearly 25 years on active and reserve duty. Now, I was lucky because my duty stations included San Diego, California, Groton, New London, Connecticut, the Navy Yard in D.C., Quantico, Virginia, and Newport, Rhode Island. Pretty good duty stations. Now, if you see our commander over here in Leland, you see a little table there between them. There's a small little table that's set up over there. And we honor those that table symbolizes. Their duty stations were a little bit different than mine. Their duty stations included Guadalcanal, the Hurtgen Forest, Antietam, Belleau Woods, the Chosin Reservoir, Quezon, Fallujah. Most of them did not serve 25 years like I did, because most never got the chance. Most never even got to be 25 years old. We see that table and chair set up all over the world. We see it in wardrooms, we see it in mess halls, we see it in ships on bases. And it means the same thing everywhere. It's a reminder to all of us of what and who should never be forgotten. The ghosts that take turns sitting at that chair, sitting at that table, will not let us forget. Those of us who can hear their call must gently remind others that cannot, that they must always be remembered. I'd like to thank some of the distinguished guests here. I know Senator Tarr just left, and so did State Representative Brad Hill, but their support is very important, and we definitely thank them for that. I'd also like to thank the selectmen and women who are here supporting us on this day to remember those who gave their lives in the service of this great country of ours. And thank you to Joanne Patton for being here and being such a big supporter of the Legion. I'd like to also thank the Hamilton Police Department and the Fire Department for coming out here and honoring us with your support. I'd like to recognize my fellow veterans, friends, guests, and family members, and thank you for being here this morning. I'd like to also just take a moment to remember Tony Heath, a Post 194 Legion member for 50 years who just passed away a few months ago. He will be missed. Finally, I'd like to recognize our commander, Greg McKenna. I know that a number of people have said some very positive things about Greg, but it's never enough for what he does. Greg served for 30 years in the United States Army, Special Forces, Green Beret. He had multiple combat tours, and he has served the last 6 years as our post commander. His leadership, if he decides to leave, and I know that perhaps he might, maybe we can persuade him otherwise, is going to be sorely missed. This post may have ceased to exist these last few years if it wasn't for that man. So thank you, Greg. You are. The American Legion organization is 100 years old this year. The Legion was formed in 1919 in the months following what was once called the Great War. For that time in history, that war was unique. That war was fought on land, air, on the sea, and under the sea. The war was fought all over the world. 32 different nations fought in that war. Civilian and military casualties were upwards of 37 million, of which 16 million were deaths. It was the most destructive war in human history up to that time. In 1918, when the end finally came, most could little imagine that another war would ever be fought. This was the war to end all wars. Right after the war, the League of Nations formed and outlawed war. It was illegal. How touchingly naive that concept was. Perhaps many felt that human beings after that war had finally turned the corner and war would be no longer, with so many being witnesses to the unspeakable horror on such a massive scale with the new mechanized and creative methods that we all invented to kill each other. Perhaps, just perhaps, war was really a thing of the past. Now they say that wisdom comes from experience, and after the experience from that war, who would ever want to go through that again? And especially to subject your children and your grandchildren to those things. Well, that was not to be. Today, we no longer call the Great War or the war to end all wars by those names. We just call it World War I. Out of that violent and naive time, the American Legion was formed. It was a way for veterans to reconnect with their communities and fellow veterans. In the Legion, a former private was equal to a former colonel. Old military ranks were not important. Comradeship was important. Everybody was simply known as comrade. Ironically, with such a word as comrade, this was truly a democratic organization. Now we come here together on this weekend, and thank you so much for being here. With our fire department, our police department, elected officials, guests, friends, family members, and fellow veterans. We all are here sharing a common, but at times sadly uncommon belief and faith in the good things about this country. Our organization, our Post 194, like posts all across this vast country of ours, need veterans to fill our aging and diminishing ranks. I urge you, please, canvass your neighborhood, your friends, for vets. We need them in the Legion. Please tell them about us. We need them, and they need us. Greg told you just a minute ago, we are losing 20 veterans a day to suicide. 20. Now, when I retired a couple of years ago, I was on the bench doing general and special court martials. And I was seeing young men and women come before me for various infractions. And these were people that we were sending over to war zones for a deployment, and a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one. And they were coming back broken. Is that a surprise? When so much of what we do in this country is focused on so few, there's something wrong with that. But that's what was happening. And I'm not sure what the future holds, as Greg was saying, with so few young men and women that are able to take up the standard and go forward. The pool has shrunk. It is concerning, to say the least. Now, of course, there have been more wars since the war to end all wars. We are engaged in one now. There's going to be more in the future. The American Legion preserves the ideals that sustain us. We are the keepers of the faith. The Legion provides a safe and welcoming place for veterans, their families, their friends, their neighbors, a place where people believe in America. A big part of what we do in the Legion, and the most important part, is just this, being here today. To gather to remember and honor those who gave all they had to their country. It is a small, temporary burden for the living to bear, when we, the living, have derived and inherited so much from their sacrifice. Lives remembered are never lost. So this weekend, with your families, your friends, your neighbors, please consider having a discussion about what makes it possible for this country to produce young men and women in this day and age who answer their country's call and go into harm's way. And please think, what would happen to us if those young men and women ever stopped believing in this great country of ours and stopped believing in themselves and us? Where would we be? Please never underestimate how important you are as fellow keepers of the faith and the impact you have on our future. Thank you, and I hope to see all of you tomorrow.
He does an incredible job with the different age groups at the schools, and anybody that participates and watches. We'll see how he comes down to the younger children's levels, all the way up to the high school, and fire and brimstone. I appreciate it. Again, I don't do this alone. I have great people that surround me. So please, let me present this certificate to Commander Martin and give him a round of applause. As I often do, get tunnel vision, because this is not my primary job. I did forget our town manager, Joe, who's also a service member. I won't touch So if you have any complaints, please file them.
Thanks for that, Greg. I appreciate that. Right here.
And I also want to recognize our friend Peter, who ties into what we talked about today. If you recall, a couple of years ago, we recognized his son, who had served over 20 years in the military with more combat deployments than anyone should, had taken his life. He is going to be, his son PJ is going to be recognized in Peabody with a street sign on Monday. And then I went out of order. I talked about the War on Terror monument that Jackie and I got to head up, because everybody knows Jackie. And I just wanted to go over the monuments in town. Inside the town hall, we have the memorial room, and it's lined with the plaques of World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. One of the plaques originally was on the gym where I went to junior high school, where Gordon went to high school. No, you go to high school, probably kindergarten over there or something. And then when they turned the junior high, former high school, into the library, the plaque got moved to the town hall. So we have the memorial room at the town hall. We have the World War II monument, the Soldiers and Sailors monument outside the cemetery in front of the Congregational Church. In the cemetery, we have the Soldiers Lot and the Soldiers Green, which the lot up front with the Revolutionary soldiers, and the green where the flagpole is. At one point, my historian could tell you there were 4 mortars there. The town sold the mortars and collected $34,000. I asked where that was, but I haven't been able to find it. But supposedly it's in perpetuity to take care of the greens and the monuments. The community house, which was donated by the Mandel family, again dating back to World War I. The Patton Park, recognizing the general and the units associated. The pillars at the park on the exit now, which recognizes the dedication from France. The Leland flagpole out front here is a national recognized landmark. The Myopia Bridge, which is recognized for Mortimer, and the Purple Heart Trail. Have I missed any? Okay. So these are all dating back to when we had 300 people that came back to town and put the monuments up. And again, we do not have anything from 1975 to our current date. So my mission will be to do that and raise funding. And Wenham was able to do that a few years back, and they got that nice monument out front and across from the police and fire station. And I believe that was somewhere around 150,000. At Beverly, I spoke to a couple people from Beverly yesterday. They did a Vietnam memorial with a bronze statue, and that was in the vicinity, when it was all said and done, 80,000, so it's much cheaper. So it's something we need to do, and we need to leave space, unfortunately, for future, because as we see, the future is ever pressing.
Where would it go?
If I had my way, right down at the, in between Conley's and the doctor's office, and that big green there. But I don't know who owns that property, so. But I think downtown would be great. Or over at the park where the driveway is, the U-shaped driveway, or somewhere in that big open space of Patton Park, or at the town hall, or in front of the cemetery, or obviously there'll be lots of arguments and discussions about what's appropriate and not appropriate, but it's something we need to address. Obviously, there's a lot of people that, I sometimes feel like there's no more people leaving Hamilton and going in the military, but we're the type of town now where it's changing every 10 years and people don't come back. And that's part of our small town problem, is people don't come back. And so we don't have backfill for the military. A lot of people go to the military, the families move away, and we never hear from them again. But there are quite a few people that still, every year from the high school, join the military. So they need to be recognized. And it's a departure from your town recognition. It's not anybody that comes to town and serves. There's a brick paver section of the town hall, up in front of the town hall, for people that can have their service recognized. It was put together by a few people. I don't know if it's an active thing today, but I'm sure now that we've involved Joe, we could probably get it activated. If you have people that want to have their name recognized and put in the brick pavers out in front of the town hall. I had my family recognized. They moved here in early 50s, so I put my parents out there, who were both veterans. So my plate's full. I'm looking forward to working with our politicians and getting that war on terror. I want it here in Hamilton. I want us to be the leader. We've been the leader for so long. I think it's a great thing, and we'll continue. And as Bill stated about our friend, Mr. Legion, I enjoyed telling Anthony every year how when I was at Winthrop School, I watched him march in and do the school walk. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And probably some of the other bucks in here, but I won't point them out. And probably nothing to do with why I went in the military, but I remember it, and I'm sure some of the other people that grew up here remember it. It's a great thing, and it's an important thing for our kids to see it, and believe me, they do appreciate it. So we made up a plaque for Mr. Legion. He was a Navy service member, and Tony served the post here for 50 years, and he served the district, he served the state. He's one of the two that swindled me into coming in and being commander, and told me that if I ever needed help, he would be there to help me, and he did. He told me everything I needed to know about the Legion, and I still don't know a whole lot. But if I ever had a question, he knew the answer, or could get the answer. So he will be missed, and we'll honor him downstairs with his location in the trophy room. Two more quick things, and I know everybody's antsy to go. One, I'm going to let our chairman say a quick word. And the other is, you may or may not have seen this talk of a two-town parade. It means a lot to each town to have a parade, and each town has an ownership in the parade. And Sean Farrell had a meeting last week. I went and spoke and said a few things. It's not an easy task, and I'm going to throw the selectmen and some of the Wenham committee under the bus. We have a fantastic police department. We have a fantastic fire department. They give us all the support in the world. I know that Wenham police and fire don't participate We, in my 6 years, have invited the Wenham Police Department to this event, invited the Wenham Fire Department to this event. Neither one has showed up. So we got some work to do. We gotta figure out how this is all gonna work. And we've been supported by you every year, but there's a lot more to it. And I feel very lucky in Hamilton, and now that I have been commander, I hate to see what we have go away. But as you see, we're shrinking in size as well. We would not be able to do what we do today, from the town hall to the cemetery, to the town hall, to the community house, to the park, to Wenham. And there's only a couple of us marching as it is, so we probably have a parade of cars, which doesn't make sense. So if we go down that road, it's gonna have to be a combination of park to town hall, or there's some work to do. And we'll see where it all leads, but we have the open discussion, and it is on the table, and we'll see where it goes. So, sorry to throw all you guys under the bus, but that's what NCOs do. All right, Mr. Chairman, and I want to give Jeff some credit because he's published a couple of things over the years. He's been very supportive of our post here. I've had counsel with him on different things, and he's always been supportive to me. So, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commander. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day today to stand with us and recognize and honor all of those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in service of the nation. From the American Revolution to our current operations against terrorism, 1 million American men and women have made the supreme sacrifice while serving in wars and conflicts. We honor all of them, not just those with the highest medals or heroes who fought in the most famous battles. They all died so we can continue to cherish the things that we love: freedom, country, and family. That is why we are gathered here today, to honor the memory of our fallen warriors and have given everything for their country. We are also reminded on this day that in each generation, brave men and women will always step forward to take the oath of allegiance as members of America's armed forces, willing to fight and, if necessary, die for the sake of freedom. I thank you all for joining us in today's tribute. I hope you keep our military men and women and the sacrifices they've made close to your heart today and throughout the rest of the year. May God bless America.
I feel like I'm looking at my son with his toy out, reading off a toy. I guess that's what they do today. As usual, I have senior moments more often than not. I wanted to recognize, each year we do a boys' state and a girls' state. The boys, as far as I know, couldn't make it here today. I don't believe they're here. The Legion sponsors 2 children to a program, and I won't throw Gordon under the bus, but Gordon went a couple of years ago. Juniors from high school, and they go down and they learn about worldly things, and it's a great resume item. And we have our girls' state recipient here today.
We women always show up.
And another thing that occurred this year, that, not to throw anyone on a bus, but it's just the way we are today. For the first time, we were unable to, in the school system, to say a soldier's prayer. There are no prayers allowed, which we understand. But I appreciate at the Police Memorial Day, and I'm going to say it as well, God bless our country, our veterans, and their families. And with that, I want to recognize our crew in the kitchen.
Opposed? Signed. Now, opposed, please accept Joe Hanson. You'll see the ladies are wearing poppies, which was designated this year as National Poppy Day, I believe it was yesterday. They were out about town providing poppies, and people were donating small amounts of support. And this year, we were unable to do it in the Hamilton Plaza, which was kind of sad. So more to come in the future on that. We'll figure out what's going on with that. And I think there was, and the final senior moment, I want to thank Bill Melville from the Hamilton Wenham Cable TV for coming here today, filming this. Long after all, John and Stephen Henry, this will be part of our heritage in the community, and as you saw, we're fortunate enough to have a few movies that we put digitally in. I was just talking to my former librarian and our historian that someone came to me the other day with 6 rolls of film from 1921 all the way through the pool dedication, and we're hoping to convert that into digital as well. So we got some great historical data. And without history, who are we, right? So again, thank you everybody for coming. It was an awesome crowd this year. And obviously we are here because of you. And we appreciate your support. I know we'll see the police department, fire department downtown at the town hall when we start the parade tomorrow. And I hope to see a lot of you as well. Thank you.